Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the Financial Literacy workshop featuring Brian Rashid, entitled um, Money Matters. Without further ado, I would like to introduce a friend of the Hostos family, Brian Rashid, who is a well-known for his philanthropy and as a motivational speaker has enabled and encouraged many people to pursue lives they never knew existed. With his motivational speeches, he has inspired countless lives to dream like there is no tomorrow and be driven by every opportunity that life has to offer you. Without any further delay, live from Austin, Texas, I would like you to meet Brian Rashid.
Thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate you, man. And Jason, thank you. And thanks for having me, everybody. Thanks for everyone that's here. If you could enable your camera, if you feel comfortable doing so, that would be awesome. It's just, the Zoom world is strange enough as it is. And then when there's just like black boxes, it's even stranger. So thanks, Leighton, and thanks for everybody that can enable your camera. We're going to try to make this as fun and interactive as possible. I know it's a really important topic. And I just want to give a really quick just background about myself, and then we'll jump in. I've been doing workshops with Hostos now for, I don't know, almost a decade, I guess. And I just really, really, really love working with you all. It's one of my favorite groups of people to work with around the world. I truly admire the programs that you all put on. I truly admire the participation, the questions, everything that you always bring a lot of great energy to the group. And so I'm really happy to be back. I am an entrepreneur, I'm a writer, I'm a filmmaker, and for the last 10 years, I've run my own business, basically helping people tell stories about their products or their services or their organizations or about even themselves. And like Brian said, my goal with this is to help you realize that, number one, your story matters. Number two, you have infinite potential to do things that you didn't know you were capable of doing, but also that how we communicate as humans and how we interact and how we connect as humans is true as the test of time. I mean, if you think about civilizations of people, there are still things that we have in common with our ancestors, which are we desire human connection, we desire to do meaningful work, we desire to take care of each other, we desire to love and be loved. And most of all, we desire that our lives have some sort of meaning. And so when Brian and Jason reached out to me about this particular conference, it was interesting to me because money matters. It's something that it's not a topic that I speak a lot about directly, money. But then I started thinking about over these last couple of weeks, what would it sound like? What would it look like to spend an hour with you guys talking about money? And Brian was really helpful because he said, hey, money is one thing, but what if we talk about goals and distractions and how you use your time and how you set yourself up for the process of the obtaining of money? Because whether we need a lot of money or a little bit of money or wherever you land in that world of the monetary importance that you put on your life, there are ways to enable yourself to get to collect and earn more money. And what I have found through 10 years of being on my own and even before as an employee was that most of the time there are basically two or three things that are preventing me from making money or from keeping money or from growing money. And a lot of those actually are patterns, are behaviors, are routines. And so when Brian and I were chatting about, how to make this as valuable as possible for all of you, I started to make a list of things that I think would be really helpful. That's been helpful for me. So just to give you a fun kind of backstory, when I first started my business 10 years ago, the first 2 years were really, really tough. I didn't really have a very clear vision of what I wanted my business to be. I knew I wanted to be my own boss. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't really know what to do. And so in New York City, when I was living in New York City years ago, I went to law school at CUNY. Actually, I'm a proud CUNY grad. I went to CUNY Queens College, went to law school, graduated from law school, and my initial thought was I wanted to become the mayor of New York City. That was really why I went to law school, because I was living in San Francisco before and I saw a lot of injustice around food security, around just human rights for immigrants. And I thought, man, I really want to shape public policy that makes life easier for people that are working so hard to make things work. And so I went to New York, I went to CUNY. CUNY was a very high level social interest, special interest, public good law school. And then I went to work for Mike Bloomberg when he was the mayor of New York City. And I was at first doing a lot of recruitment for his reelection campaign. And then when he won, I stayed in the administration as a speechwriter. So when I moved to San Francisco, after working in the administration for almost 3 years, I was very good at being able to help people tell stories. So that was my goal. That was what I wanted to start doing as an entrepreneur. But entrepreneurship is a lot harder than people make you realize. And so I was almost broke pretty much every month for the first 18 months, to the point where I was even having to rent out my own room in my apartment on Airbnb, use that money to feed back into the business, also to pay for the rent for the room. And then I would go stay on friends' couches. So it was really a humbling couple of years. And now I'm in a place where, you know, I'm making more money, but I'm able to really choose the clients that I want. At the beginning, I was just working with anyone that I could work with because I needed the money. But now I realize that, oh man, actually, I'm making more money now. I'm not having to rent out my own Airbnb. I'm actually able to rent other people's Airbnbs, and I'm being able to work on projects and do workshops like this that I love with people that I love. So when I think about what was the shift for me, and when I think about what was the shift for a lot of the people that I work with, I think that it comes down to several different steps. So I'd like to sort of at first just kind of give you those steps. And then maybe what we can do is, would anyone like to volunteer to kind of run through them with me? Just kind of raise your hand, or I can't see everyone. So if you want to, just maybe in the chat, if you want to volunteer, just say like, yeah, I'd love to volunteer. And we can run through what that might look like for you. And if no one wants to volunteer, I can just do it for myself, I guess. I'll just wait 1 minute, see if anyone wants to volunteer. Okay, so it looks like we got a little bit of a shy group today, huh, Brian? So, all right. Well, let's just get started, and then maybe someone will be inspired to volunteer as we get going. So the first thing I want you to do, and actually before I do that, in the chat, if you don't mind, just drop in. Okay, Ashanti, thank you so much. Ashanti's going to volunteer with us. Awesome. So if you can just type into the chat, what is your biggest goal for today's session? Why are you here today? What are you hoping to walk away learning? Just go ahead and literally type that into the chat, into the group chat, please. What are you hoping to learn today? Ashanti, understand how I can improve my credit score with my current income. Okay. Good. As well as my business. Good. How to manage my money on a tight budget. Yes. Good. What else? What else are people hoping to learn? How to save more. Beautiful. Handle my finances better. I suck. No problem. Love the honesty. I want to make money and save money. Beautiful. Saving. Good. What else? What else is everybody hoping to learn today? Financial growth to organize, responsible monetization. Okay. I want to not touch my savings. Good. Awesome. Saving. Okay, good. So a lot of saving, a lot of like organization. Beautiful. Okay. So encourage everyone to become an entrepreneur in some format. Awesome. Okay, cool. So everyone's got kind of slightly different goals. And so I'm going to try to make this kind of as broad as possible, and then we can drop it into everyone's individual goals, right? But so the first thing that I would like you to do, and again, this is going to be pretty interactive. I just have found that really works best. So first thing I'd like you all to do is write down 1, 2, or 3 goals that you have. They don't, and by the way, they don't have to be financial goals. They can be financial goals. Maybe one financial goal and then a couple other goals. But I just want to understand, what are your goals right now? What are your goals right now? Because everything is somehow interrelated. This is what I've found, right? So write down your goals. And if you would be so kind to drop them in the chat, that would be awesome. That would be really helpful. Let's take a couple minutes here. Good. Publish my website, buy a house, graduate. Beautiful. Get a car, graduate, save. Great. Buy a house away from New York. Graduate, start my own business, be successful. Beautiful. These are great. Keep dropping them in as you come. Good job. Make sure my bills are paid on time. Beautiful. Anybody else want to share? Okay, cool. So, okay, Brian, to graduate with my degree in radiology and start working in hospitals doing CAT scans, MRIs, and X-rays. Great. Okay, so these are really good. And again, I'm actually happy that they're not all around money, because you're gonna see why in a second. Okay, so what I want you to do is I literally want you to take out, whatever you're writing on, whatever the piece of paper or the computer or the phone, whatever you're using to write on. I want you to make two columns, okay? So I want you, in one column, I want you to write down these goals that you're sharing, right? I want to own a home, I want to work in the legal field, and I want to graduate on time, okay? Those are the 3 goals, right? You have those over here on your left-hand column, okay? Now I want you to actually, and this is going to sound a little bit strange, but I found that this was unbelievably helpful for me, because I don't know about you all, but sometimes we can be a little bit delusional or romantic about life. I'm super romantic, which means I actually sometimes will trick myself into thinking that I'm doing more or less of something than I actually am doing. So there were days that when I was like studying for the bar exam, for example, I would arrive at the library at like 9 a.m. and I would leave the library at 11 p.m. And I would go home, and on my way home, I would call my parents or whoever, and I'd be like, oh, I've been studying for 14 hours and blah, blah, blah. And then the next day I thought to myself, actually, I don't think you actually are studying for 14 hours. I want you to write down the blocks of time that you are actually studying for the bar exam. And of those 14 hours, I think I was studying something like 6. So in my mind, I told myself I was studying for 14 hours, but actually I was studying for not even half of that amount of time. The other half of that amount of time I was eating, I was walking around, I was talking to people, I was on the phone, I was on Facebook, I was doing all kinds of stuff, right? So what I want you to start to do is I literally want you to start for the next week, if you're so inspired, I want you to start writing down every single thing that you're doing during the day. Every single thing. And I want you to write, and this does not have to become a thing that you do every day for the rest of your life. That would be like a little bit crazy. But just for the next 7 days, I want you to literally write down everything that you do, from waking up to exercise, to eating, to cooking, to taking care of your kids, to studying, to socializing, to whatever you're up to, okay? And I want you to just make an ongoing list. And I want you to do it kind of like as a line item, all right? So cooked, 1 hour. Took my boy to daycare, 1 hour. Blah, 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 okay? And then at the end of the day, I want you to go through that list. And I want you to write next to every single line the number of the goal that activity advanced. So like, Brian, you want to graduate and work in radio. Well, you want to graduate. That's number 1, right? You want to get a job at a hospital. That's number 2. All right. So like, let's say today you're like, I went to the gym. I walked to the train. I cooked breakfast. I called my boy. I talked to my mom. Blah, blah, blah. So all of a sudden you're at 4 hours of your day, and you haven't put a 1 or a 2 by any of those activities. And I'm not saying that every single minute of every single day needs to be towards that activity, but what you'll find is, wow, I actually am I actually am spending a lot of my time and energy on activities that have nothing to do with my goals. And this is also where I think it's important that we get really clear about goals as well. So you guys all put in your goals, and they're beautiful goals: own a home, save money, work here, graduate here, blah, 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 blah. What I'm not seeing in any of these goals is like self-care. I want to sleep 8 hours a night. I want to meditate 20 minutes a day. I want to exercise. We've become very conditioned in the American society to be productive. But your mental well-being, your physical well-being, your emotional well-being, your spiritual well-being is all a really important part of being productive. So I'd also encourage all of you to figure out ways, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, to incorporate in some sort of self-care into those goals. That way you don't feel bad about going to the gym. You don't worry about making, healthy food. You don't worry about taking a nap if you're tired. You don't stress the sleeping 8-9 hours a night, because these are all things that are going to get you closer and closer. Okay. So that's step 2. So step number 1 is we're going to write down the goals. Step number 2 is we're going to write down all the things that we're doing. Self-care is a reward? No, absolutely not. Ashanti, self-care. Ashanti asks, would it be wrong to think of self-care as a reward for my goal? No, it wouldn't be wrong. There's nothing right or wrong. It just has to be what feels genuine to you. And if reward would feel like if self-care would feel like a reward for the goal, that's great. But I think about like goals as a sustainable practice, because otherwise I watch this all the time because I work with a lot of like high performers. They just burn themselves out. They go super hard for a year, 2, 3, 5, and then they just crash. I'd rather you be able to maintain a level of stability mentally, emotionally, physically for like 50 years, doing what you can in that time. And that's why I really want you to start thinking about why are my goals important? Maybe your goal is like, I want to spend a lot of time with my child. Maybe your goal is I want to take care of my mom. Maybe, and that's a fine goal, right? So that's number 2. That's number 2, right? So like literally, what are you doing? Okay. That's your time. How are you spending your time? All right. Number 3 is how are you spending your money? So now I want you to write down, so you have your goals, right, in your 1 column. You have all the activities that you're doing in your next column. You're going to write down the activities, how you're spending your time, and you're going to see what things that you're doing with your time that matches the goals, right? And then number 3, it's going to say, what am I doing with my money? How am I spending my money? Because I always say, if you really want to know what's important to somebody, ask them to look at their calendar and their checkbook. You can talk all you want about what's important, but you're going to spend your time and your money on what you actually think is important. People say, oh, fitness is so important to me. It's so important to me. I'm like, okay, show me your gym membership. I don't have one. Show me where you worked out this week. I didn't work out this week. So your time and your energy, or your time and your money did not go towards fitness. It's actually not that important to you. Or it is, but you haven't figured out how to do it yet. Saving money is so important to me. Okay, show me where you learned about savings accounts. Show me where you actually invested money into your savings account. Show me how you move that money. I didn't. Oh, well then, right? I want to start my own business. Okay, cool. Show me where you spent 5 hours watching YouTube videos about how to do online marketing. Show me time and money. That's how people really show you what is important to them. So your next goal, you're literally going to write down, what am I spending my money on? And we're going to do an example. Ashanti and I are going to go through an example of this in a second of how it actually is going to look. Okay. But okay. So then number 4, I want you to think about who are you spending your time? Who are the people in your life? And specifically, some of us have a lot of people in our lives. Like I have a lot of people in my life. But specifically, I want you to think about who are the 5 people that I'm spending the most amount of my time with. Who are those 5 people? Because those 5 people are actually going to be the most important people in my life. Because they're going to lift me up or they're going to bring me down. And we'll talk about what to do about those 5 people once we go through the example with Ashanti, for example. But we're just doing like literally getting those columns in order right now. I'm going to pause for a second because I've been talking for a while. I want to see, do we have any questions? Go ahead and put a question in the chat if you have any. Any questions so far? We're okay? Okay. All right. So let's jump into an example. Oh, sorry, Carmen. Okay. We write what we spend our money on and our time with. Yes, you're going to write down your goals. And then you're going to literally write down your activities, your time. You're going to write down what you spend your money on. How are you using your money? And then the 4th is the 5 people that you're spending most of your time with. Okay, good. So Ashanti, let's jump in with you. If you, let's see, I'm gonna close this chat so I can see you. Ashanti, okay, cool. Do you want to unmute your line?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And again, if you'd like to enable your video, that would be great. No pressure, but if you are comfortable with that, it would be nice to have that personal touch, but up to you. Okay, so let's go through it. So we're gonna walk through how this will actually look. And again, for your activities, for that second column, just do the best you can based on your recollection. Like let's just do like today, for example. All right, so go ahead and tell us your goals.
So my 3 goals that I put were publishing my website, buying a house, and graduating on time. Basically.
Okay. Publishing website, buying home, graduating on time. Okay, got you. So those are the 3 goals. And now this is a cool example because look what's happening here. Publishing website is, I would say, a business goal, right? Buying home is a financial goal. Graduating on time is an educational goal, right? So this is a nice example of how we have a 3-part goal system. Really quickly, tell us about what is your website about?
My website is a business consulting firm. So it's basically all of the components to owning a business and starting a business. So it's separated in 3 parts of like planning, managing, and not the 3rd one, but those three parts basically, and just business consulting is the general.
Beautiful. Okay. And buying a home, where would you like to buy a home?
I was thinking, I know it's really broad, but the United States. I'm not sure of New York though, maybe another state.
Okay, so somewhere in the US. And graduating on time, when is that? When would on time be?
2023,
Okay,
next
great.
year.
2023. Okay, so I would say these are really clear goals, right? Like, sorry, when would you like to buy a home by?
2025.
Okay. And that's something that I forgot to mention in the beginning, which is important. You know, you don't have to be totally strictly bound to these timelines, but I do find that having timelines are really helpful. So for all of you that left your comments in the chat, they were really great goals. They seemed clear. Go ahead and just add timelines to them for yourself. Again, you're not going to like stress out if it doesn't happen in that exact timeline, but it is helpful to start to visualize that. All right, so Ashanti has 3 great goals, all very ambitious, but all very possible. And she has timelines for all of it, right? So take us through a typical, like just take us through your day to day, for example. What did you do today?
Well, today I looked at my classes, like I looked at my assignments to see what was due. I was on social media most of the time. Like half of the time I was looking at how I wanted to structure my business on social media, but then I guess half of the time, I was just,
Give us timelines. So you looked at your assignments to see what was due. How long did that take you?
probably less than 10 minutes,
Let's just say 10 minutes. What time did you wake up today?
9 a.m.
Okay, so what did you do? Like literally walk us through the whole day. 9 a.m. You woke up.
I woke up, I fed my cat, I washed up, brushed my teeth, I did my hair. I didn't go outside or anything. I just was inside the house. Then I went on the computer to look at my classes. Then I went on my phone.
Okay, so you're on your computer, you're looking at so your morning is like typical every day, everyone's like gonna get up, shower, get into the day, fine. Okay. Then you get on your phone, you get on the computer. What time is that? Like 10 o'clock?
Around 11.
Okay, so 11 a.m. you're on your computer, you're looking up your classes. That's from 11 to 11:11, let's just say. You're 11:11 until how long are you on your computer then for the social media?
I went on my phone around, like it's kind of like after, like directly after, so you could say 11 as well.
Yep.
To like now.
What time is it now?
3:30.
Okay, so from 11 to 3:30. So you were on your phone for 4.5 hours. Of those 4.5 hours, don't lie to us. We're all in this together. No one's judging you. Trust me. Trust me. I have lost so much time to social media. How many of those 4.5 hours would you say you were actually working on your business? And how much those 4.5 hours you were just kind of scrolling? Don't lie.
I'm not really sure. I saw a post, so probably like a minute. I saw a post and then I scrolled on the page and then I saw something else and that was it. So probably like.
So you were mostly doing business?
Not really, honestly, no. Probably 20 minutes. That's like pushing it.
Wait. I want to understand. So you were doing business research for 20 minutes of the 4.5 hours?
Yeah, and then I got like distracted because I saw something else.
Okay, so 20 minutes on business, 4 hours of distraction. No one's judging, don't worry. And then now you're here and you've been on here for, an hour, 30 minutes, whatever. You'll be on here for 60 to 90 minutes of this workshop. Okay, so now this is great. Now let's look at this. So Ashanti's been awake since 9 to 3:30. That's 6.5 hours. So 6.5 hours she's been awake. Let's say 1 hour was self-care, no problem. And then let's say we have 5.5 hours left in the day. We'll give her 30 minutes on social doing business stuff and 90 minutes here doing learning about business and savings. That's 120 minutes, that's 2 hours. So 2 of the 5.5 hours are actually going towards her goal. Even if she cuts that in half, even if of the 3.5 hours that she's basically wasting, right? Even if those 3.5 hours, you cut that in half, you're still getting like 7 hours a week more of time towards your business, towards your home buying, towards your graduation, right? So this is not to make you feel bad. This is just to show people, and I guarantee you, every single one of us, maybe not Jason because he's like a freaking superhuman, but every single one of us is like distracted, so distracted, so distracted. And so this is just an example of that, right? So I want you to all really do this. Now I want to talk to you about how you're spending your money. What would you say? And again, you don't have to answer this if it's too personal. You never have to answer anything if it's too personal. But what would you say are the top 3 places that your money goes right now? And if you don't want to answer that, then let me ask a different way. Would you say that the top 3 ways that you spend your money are going towards the goals that you wrote down? Ashanti, I'm still with you.
I'm thinking still, but I would definitely say one expense that would be renting, and I guess that's not really considered even towards the house. So
yeah, renting, but again, it's like you have to live somewhere, so but it's good to know. So renting is the first, which is probably why you want to buy a house, because you don't really want to rent anymore. What's the second?
right. Phone and like internet services.
Phone and internet. Okay, so phone and internet. So phone, if used correctly, can be great for these goals. Internet, if used correctly, can be great for these goals. So, and rent, you have to do right. So your expenses are actually seems like they're going towards the goals as well. Now let's talk about people. Who are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that you're spending most of your time with? And when I say spending your time with, I don't mean just in person. I mean you're texting, you're communicating with, you're calling, you're FaceTiming, whatever. Who are those 5 people for you?
My mom, my sister, my friend, well, 3 of my friends. So I guess that fits into the 5.
Friend. Okay. Now, here's where things get kind of interesting. And this is a little, I don't want to say controversial because it's not controversial, but it's a little tricky. So you have to look at these 5 people, right? And then you have to ask yourself, are these 5 people getting me closer or helping me in some way to get closer to my goals?
Definitely.
They're all helping you?
All of them, yes.
Okay,
all the 5.
Amazing. So you're actually, I would say, probably a rarity. Most of the time when I talk to people about these people in their lives, and I do it mostly in a business context, like, is your entrepreneurship getting, Brian said, I want everyone to be entrepreneurs. I want to give people the tools to be entrepreneurs. I would say the number one, aside from I have a really creative mind and I can ideate very quickly and execute on ideation, aside from that I've really trained myself, aside from that, I can say, and it's almost like a tie, is 100% the people in my life. 100% the reason that I am successful is because I have amazing people around me that all help me to improve and to create more and to strive more, and that people that actually help me with my goals, that say like, hey, I'll connect you to this person, hey, I'll connect you to this person, right? Like everyone. And then I have a large group of people in my life, but they're all supportive. I mean, I can talk to Jason once a year, twice a year, but I know that support is mutual. I know that support is there. You know, even like Brian reaching out, being like, hey, you want to help with this conference? Yes, that's just people. That's someone that he just like, Brian's actually an example of someone that's doing what he says he wants to do. He said, I want to help everyone become entrepreneurs. And then he reaches out to me and says, you want to give a conference? That's helping me that's helping me be an entrepreneur, because it's giving me an opportunity to do what I love as an entrepreneur, right? So this is a really important piece, whether it's about saving money or whatever. This is a really important piece, because it's easier to make money when you have great people in your life that are all trying to help you succeed. And this is the place that 95% of people get trapped, because most of us do not have every person in our life that's actually helping us advance. So now what do you do about that? That's always the next question. It's like, but my mom is the person that doesn't help me advance. But my brother, my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, my girlfriend, my sister, they don't believe in me, or they're mean to me, or they're abusive to me, or they're passive aggressive, or they don't support me, or they couldn't care less about my dreams. What do I do? Well, it's hard, because I'm not suggesting that you never talk to your mom again. I'm not suggesting you never talk to your boyfriend again, but you have to find ways to supplement the people in your life. If your boyfriend is not supportive of your dream and he is making you feel bad about your dream, well, then maybe you don't want to be with him. But let's just assume that everything else is cool and you want to be with him, whatever, then you have to find other people that will. You have to find other people that will. And so business mentors, people like Jason, mentors, peers that are all groups, the Leadership Academy group, there's all kinds of groups, right? There's meetup.com where you can find like-minded people. There's all kinds of stuff that you can go out and find, but you have to find ways to supplement your list. It's really important, okay? So let's stop for questions. I want to see if there's any questions. And if you could just drop questions in the chat box about it. These are like the first 4 steps to really getting clear on your goals and getting to where you want, either financially or money-wise, or business-wise, or life-wise. Questions. I'm going to pause here. Thank you, Ashanti, for volunteering. That was awesome. And we're going to come back to you in a second, but because there's another piece. Take advantage of the questions, guys. Don't be shy, because even if you think you're the only one that has the question, I guarantee other people do as well. Just going to read through some of your. Awesome. Further educate myself, especially if it's free. Exactly. Lots of free resources. Any questions? No questions at all.
Brian, hey, sorry
Yeah.
to came late at the Zoom thing. Would you recommend limit my spending, like since like the age, the 25, Jason knows 25 to 30, I'm a career change, I'm 26, like those career things, I need to up my game with the spending. So would you recommend doing I know everyone does this all the time with even my money coach, I have to pay like free consultation, do a budget sheet per month, how much you plan to spend each month. But does it make sense to have a disability? Does it make sense at the end of each month, like for instance, end of this month, like calculate your bank account, how much you spend, and then do your prediction, like how much to know, like what's your budget, and then like each end of each month to spend to know how much you spend. Do you get what I mean? Like
Yeah.
at the end of the month, like yeah, check your bank statement because I've been getting a lot of advice to do a budget each week, but like that's not even possible.
Yeah, well, thanks for the question, Arnold. I think, for me, when I first, I guess it depends, right? Well, there's two things here. It's an important question. The first thing is, I think that doing a budget is beneficial for two reasons. The first reason is it's good to know how much you're spending. And the second reason is you'll actually discover that you're spending money on things you don't even need. Like there's a lot of hidden subscription costs. There's a lot of, wow, I can't believe I just spent, $100 on this where I could have done it for 20, or I've been spending $200 a month on groceries and throwing away $30 of food a week. And now all of a sudden I'm basically throwing away hundreds of dollars a month. So I think that the first thing is making a list of your budget, making a list of what you spend money on, and whether that be reviewing your credit cards or reviewing your bank statements is really helpful because you realize very quickly, like, okay, I do use this subscription every single month, and it's useful, or I don't. But the second thing is that it's just good to know what you spend. So, when I first started my business, I actually made a daily spreadsheet of what I spent, every single dollar. I still have it. I literally would make a spreadsheet and I would write down every single penny that I spent just to see how much money I was spending and on what. And I realized that, oh wow, actually I don't really need to spend a whole lot of money to be good. And so I think that making a budget is really important, and it just holds yourself accountable. It's similar to what I was suggesting about writing down all of the things that you're doing during the day, because then it's just like you can't lie to yourself. It's like, here's what I'm buying, here's how I'm spending my time. This is not a romantic vision. This is actually what I'm doing. Does that help, Arnold? I think you might have frozen, brother, but I hope you could hear that.
Hello.
That's thank you. Like vision yourself where you see like
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for the question, brother. Who was trying to speak there?
Hi, my name is Kim Lloyd, and
Hey.
I know I've been writing in the chat, and I know I do a lot of spending on food and paying bills.
Mhm.
And since I've been in the pandemic, I kind of taught myself how to pay things online.
Yep.
So it's like every month I try to pay things on time or before the due date. And I
Mhm.
try to pay more. Either I try to pay the whole bill, or if I can't pay the whole bill, I try to pay the minimum, but I try to pay it before the due date,
Yep.
because I'm trying to get better with paying bills. I'm trying to get better with making sure there's food in the house. And I also have a cat who's been keeping me company. And I really haven't been around people. That's probably why I want to come back to school so bad, because since the pandemic, it's like I just went into total isolation,
Yeah.
and now I'm trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I see in your chat here, I want to be a friendly person.
yeah, because I noticed that since I went into isolation, I'm not as friendly as I used to be. I'm real careful about who I talk to, how I talk to them, what we talk about, because it's just, maybe I got a little paranoid since the pandemic.
What are you paranoid about?
Being safe, not catching the COVID-19. I see that a lot of dangerous things happen on the news, so I try not to watch the news too much. I try to watch the news like once a day.
Please never watch the news ever. Please just turn it off.
I think I might have to start doing that. Because it seems like every time I watch it,
guys,
it's like,
I want to tell you something. You have to understand how the news works. I've worked in media for a long time. The news only works if they scare you into watching it. They make money when you watch their stories. It's the same as newspapers. They make money when you read their stories, and they know that the human brain is designed. We are literally designed from a chip perspective because of our ancestry to pay attention to the lion before we pay attention to the apple. And that was a good thing for us because that's how we ended up here today. Because otherwise our ancestors would have been eaten by the lion. But we are hardwired to pay attention to bad news before we pay attention to the good news because it's a survival thing. But the difference is now we don't live in the jungle anymore and we're not getting eaten by lions. But the media knows that that is the chip of your brain. And so they're constantly feeding you bad news because they know that that is what you'll watch and that is how they make money. So seriously, I'm not at all joking. Please stop watching the news. That will
okay,
help you become less paranoid.
okay, because I'm like I said, I've been in isolation. I
Yeah.
do keep in touch with my success coach. She's a wonderful person. She has kept me in the loop of a lot of things. She has encouraged me so much. She said I have improved so much in my studies. I
Great.
noticed that I'm more focused on my studying. One of my goals is that I want to be have a good GPA so I can get the job that I want. I want to work with seniors. I really want to work in a senior center. I want to work with seniors. I feel that seniors are a very good plus in our communities. I just feel that since COVID happened, they've been just category like in a very, very bad light too. And I just want them to be happy that they got to the age that they are, and that I feel that they can teach me and anybody else anything, especially about history. And I think that population is a population that's just been so mistreated.
So
And I just,
let me ask you a question because this is why I love the Q&A. It's like there's so much richness here. So if we were to look at your list of activities, how much time do you spend working or talking to seniors?
well, at one time, I used to go to a senior center. So that would make me interested in it. But like I said, when the pandemic happened, everything shut down. I was keeping in touch with this with my next door neighbor. She lived in a senior building, and I used to bring food to her because I volunteered with City Harvest, and I also was doing an assignment on her in my gerontology 102 class. But since my schedule changed, I haven't been keeping up with her. And I think I'm gonna call her today because I have her on my mind. And she was the only really senior I had kept in touch with. And that's about it.
Well, that sounds like a big breakthrough. I mean, and trust yourself with that vision. You know, like these things happen for a reason. You're here today to do this workshop today for this woman to pop into your head today. And you're going to act on that and go for it. And the other thing is this, you know, if you want, I always say to people, like, if you want to change something, change something. And if you're sick and tired of the fear around what you have been, and again, this is a whole longer conversation, but I do believe that we have been, it's been a mind fuck these last 2 years. And I think that like I've never seen anything like it where they have scared people so much around being around humans. And so
You ain't the only one, because this isolation thing, it has really put a lot of fear in people.
a lot.
It's like,
and a lot of mental illness, a lot of mental unwellness. And so what I'm trying to say to you is I'm on your team here. I feel you and I appreciate your honest share so much, because I think that if you want something to be different, you have to do something different. So if you are ready for the fear to be over, then reach out to this woman and say like, hey, I'm coming over, I'm bringing coffee. And I want to sit with you, and I want to sit with you in a room, and you can all do whatever you feel comfortable with in terms of distance and all these things. But like you say, I want to connect with you again as a human. And I miss connecting with you as a human. And then you do that with as many senior citizens as you want. And then maybe you start writing blog posts about that. Maybe you write a book about that. Maybe you do a podcast about a learning every day that they can teach us a lot. They can teach us about history. We can learn so much. These are all statements that I believe so much to be true. But if we all stay scared, then nothing moves forward. And so you actually have a chance right now to be a real leader. And that leadership looks a lot of different ways. It can literally just be you sitting down with someone once a week for an hour outside, if you feel more comfortable, if they feel more comfortable. Like, but you're slowly starting to break down the fear that divides us, because we've been divided. We've been really divided. And for a lot of different reasons. Did you get a vaccine? Did you not get a vaccine? Have you had COVID? Have you not? Are you wearing a mask in public? Are you not? I have never seen more animosity towards people that are all just trying to figure it out because we've been so confused by all this information. But all we can do is come back together. And I really believe that. And I think that what you're doing is beautiful. You think you're lonely? Like no one even wants to go around old people because they're scared that they're going to die, And so it's like, break the pattern, break the chain, break the fear. You can do that. That is courage. And it sounds like you're ready for it. And I would just say, go for it. Like I'm done. I'm so done with all the fear, honestly. That's a good one. Okay, thank you so much for that, Kim. All right, there's a bunch of questions in here. Oh gosh, I gotta go back up. Hang on one second, sorry. I saw questions, but they were way up. Hang on one second, sorry guys. Okay, Eileen, how do you find resources other than YouTube? It depends on what you want to do, Eileen. Do you want to find, there's medium.com has articles, Reddit has articles, Google is a really great source. LinkedIn is a great source. Facebook groups, Facebook Markets, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, Instagram, hashtags, you can search for hashtags. Podcasts are really good. There's so much. YouTube is one, but there's so much. Shanti, you spoke about executing ideas quickly. Can you elaborate about that? It's widely understood to just start, but how do you build the type of discipline? So Shanti, it's a good question. So for me, I have a lot of ideas. So I have a lot of ideas, and 99% of them I never do anything about. 1% of them I actually do start things about, and of those 1%, maybe I finish like 1 of 10. So I'm probably actually executing on like less than 1% of my ideas because I have so many ideas. But what I would say is think about the stuff that keeps you up at night. That's usually a pretty good indication that you should go for it. I have visions at night that I can't sleep because I'm thinking about how I want to do them. And if they continue to repeat, then I know that it's something that's coming to me. Also, meditation for me is really, I started meditating 2 years ago when the pandemic started. And I've meditated pretty much every single day for the last 2 years for about somewhere between 15 to 30 minutes a day. And I find that in that quiet meditation, I have unbelievable clarity about what I'm supposed to move forward and what I'm not. The reason that most people cannot stay disciplined around executing an idea is because it's actually not the thing that you're supposed to be moving forward. It's actually you've confused yourself or someone else has convinced you to do it, but you don't truly want to do it. So I would say the first step is sit in silence and really ask yourself what's coming in for you. Second question is ask yourself this repeatedly. Why? Why do I want to do this? Because here's where things get really interesting, especially for me. And especially for a lot of us that especially immigrant background families, there's a lot of family pressure. So you have to really be disciplined and brave about, are these ideas my ideas, or are these ideas my parents' ideas, or my siblings' ideas, or someone else's ideas that have been thrown on me that I feel a pressure to push forward. If you feel a pressure to push something forward, it's usually a time to let it go. So really think about why, like really, why do I want to do this? Is it because I want my mom and dad to accept me? Is it because I want millions of dollars so that I can buy cars and impress my neighbors who also came from the Dominican Republic? And, you know, like there's so much subconscious shit that we don't even recognize it's happening until we sit in silence. So really sitting in silence and like recognizing that, okay, this is what I want, and I want it because it's a genuine intention that comes from the purity of my heart and soul. And then you're gonna have, I promise you, zero problem staying disciplined, because you can't even fathom doing something else. Right? And then the last part of it is, I oftentimes like to say it out loud to people that, like Ashanti, say it out loud to those 5 people that are in your life. And feel, because it's one thing to think of something and internalize it and then just like let it sit there and say, okay, it feels good. But then what I'll do is I'll call people and I'll say, hey, I'm thinking about like doing this documentary film about this. And then literally as you speak it out loud, I'm thinking about buying a home in upstate New York. As you speak it out loud, your body will start to respond. Your body will literally start to buzz with like an excitement, or your shoulders will feel heavy, or you'll get a headache, or your heart will skip a beat and you feel panicked. And really, like that is divine supreme intelligence. So trust in that response. But you wouldn't have that response if you weren't saying it out loud. And then what I like to do also is the more and more I say it out loud, like I want to move to Colombia. That's something that I've thought about a lot, and I've spent a lot of time living in South America. So I want to move to Colombia. I'll say that to a friend. I'll say it to a second friend. I'll say it to a third friend. And by the time I hit about friend 7, I have a pretty clear vision in my mind's eye of like, I actually want to do this or not. And it's not even about what they say back to me. It's more just about me saying it. And then once I actually decide that I want to do something, then I'll tell the people that are important in my life that I'm doing it, and it'll become almost like an accountability thing. Because then they'll check in on me about it. Like, hey, how's the gym going? Hey, how's the triathlon training going? Hey, how's the business going? Hey, how's the 1 hour reading that you're doing with your son every night going? Whatever that thing is that you feel like you need to shift into, you will. So my process, if I've never really thought about this as a process, but a process would be, what's whispering to me, like what angelic whispers are coming down. Sit in silence to see if that feels right for me truly, for me, my genuine heart intention. Start to, I actually missed a step. Start to start it even, like start it a little bit. Do some research, put up a website, do whatever. Share it with some people, say it out loud, see how my body responds. And then once I'm really in it, speak it out loud to people for like an accountability. That's my best answer, Ashanti. I hope that helps. Eileen, how do you stay motivated during your times that business has lows? Your business is going to have lows always. I stay motivated because of that exact process that I just talked about. It's just so clear to me that it's what I'm supposed to be doing, that I'm just, the lows I'm going to ride out, and the lows are all there for a reason. Nature, the trees, the leaves fall from the trees every year and they stay bare for many months before they come back.
So pretty much your vision makes you, it really doesn't matter if you have lows, it's the vision that you have.
Because I'm so clear in the conviction of what I'm doing. It's like there's always going to be some lows. I'm not the pandemic was a lows, 2 years of lows. I lost 70-80% of my business. I had to fire a lot of people on my staff. No one was paying for services. No one was leaving their house. I had a video production company. No one was leaving their houses, much less doing videos. So you just and then thank you for the question, because the next part is equally as important. And then guess what you do? You just do your best, and then you stop. You just adapt as best as you can. I had to let go of people that have worked with me for a while that I deeply, deeply love, and I just had to let go. And they're in better places now. You know, they're doing even better work now. And it was devastating for me to let them go. So you just trust that the lows are there to teach us something.
Thank you.
Do you want to follow up a follow-up question, Eileen?
No, I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so do you recommend anyone jump into stocks and crypto? Stocks and crypto are a huge topic that I am. Crypto is something that I just started learning about this week. I don't really feel comfortable talking about it just because I really don't understand it yet. I do think
A lot of people don't understand it. It's still taking me a while to understand crypto. I'm still learning as well.
There's a podcast called Bankless, Bankles, that my friend that lives here in Austin, he's really deep in this world. He said it's the best podcast that he's found so far about the crypto world. So Bankles. I just started listening yesterday. I didn't connect much with the first episode I listened to, but I'll usually give it 2 or 3 shots before I move on. So yeah. I think crypto is going to be the future of the global currency. I think it's going to be massively important. I just don't ever like to give advice on stuff that I don't really understand, and I don't understand this, so I don't want to direct you without integrity. I've been with my boyfriend for,
Hi,
yeah, go ahead, Kim.
Kim. I know the mayor was talking about crypto currency, that he wanted to start getting paid that way, or talking more about it. But like you said, not too many people know about that. So how do we get to learn, what it is, how it's going to change the value of the United States currency? Because as the common person, we don't know anything about that. If it's not American dollars, we have no clue.
You're right. We have no clue. And I think that you're 100% right in what you say. I don't think I think a very few select percentage, like a very small percentage of the world understands what it is right now. I think there's a great opportunity to learn. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. But in terms of stocks and crypto, the rule doesn't really change. Like, never put $1 into anything that you cannot afford to lose. When I put money into stocks or I put money into crypto, I have zero ability to be upset if that money goes away. It's just the nature of the stock market. My father was a financial advisor for 40 years, and he always used to tell me the same thing: don't invest $1 that you cannot afford to lose. So, like I said, my business is going well, but I'm not like a millionaire. I'm not a multi-millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. So I don't have a ton of money to invest into these things right now. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna be responsible, and I'm gonna see what I can invest. If I can invest, if it feels right to invest, and I'm just gonna continue to educate. I'm gonna take my time, and I will never invest more than I can lose. So I will never put myself or my family or my business or anything at jeopardy because I'm trying to like ride the crypto wave, because I don't fully understand it. Even stocks, I don't fully understand. Yeah, Robinhood has programs. That's right, Ashanti. Robinhood is good.
Robinhood is a good way to start.
Yeah,
for people for beginners.
Yeah,
it's a good way to start.
I think also like Coinbase is a wallet. That's like, it's a wallet. So Coinbase might have some educational stuff. But again, it's like anything. You have to basically. You have to trust the person. I mean, if somebody on here, like Brian saying, I can explain somewhat, that's great. If someone on here is really, really passionate about it and can dedicate 30, 40, 50 hours to learning about it and then explain it, then that would be really seems like a really useful service. There's a lot of people that are trying to figure this out right now. I'm in Austin, Texas right now, and there's this tech conference called South by Southwest. It's a tech media art conference. And honestly, like 50% of the workshops down here are all about crypto. like half of the stuff that's going on is about crypto. So it's definitely, there's definitely something here. My interest in it, honestly, if I'm being honest with all of you, it's not like there feels like there's a lot of different ways that it can be used. So the first way is like, NFTs, which are, like non-fungible tokens. You can basically collect art in a digital way. And then you get a bunch of benefits, like you can go to these parties and you can get access to these second NFTs, and you can get access to these backstage New York Knicks, whatever. That feels like that doesn't excite me as much, just because I've never really been into like the VIP thing in any way. But the part that does feel meaningful, that this is really where I want to learn a lot more, and especially because I know Hostos is a very large immigrant population of students, is like, what does this look like in the developing world when so many people don't have access to bank accounts or banks? I think that there's a real opportunity for it to make life a lot better for third world countries and for the developing world to do interesting things in business and in art and in sending money back and forth and in having more sovereignty over maybe corrupt governments. So that's something that I'm really interested in. And I think there could be some use cases that would be worth exploring there. So that's kind of what I'm feeling about it right now. Any other questions? These are great questions, guys and gals. Thank you. You can just unmute yourself and ask if you have one.
Hi,
Okay.
Kim. Since we're talking about money, shouldn't we be teaching people the financial not the what's going on in the neighborhood, like what financial like banks and what kind of banks are in people's neighborhoods? Like for instance, where I live at, we have like a check cashing place. Then from the check cashing place, we have, commercial banks, then saving banks. And could you like have a discussion on that? Because I know that we were talking about money, but we need to realize what institutions are in our own neighborhoods that we can use the proper way when we need to use them. Because it seems like, we have a lot of people living in our communities, but we really don't know what they're using to better their lives or to better their money. If you don't know what's in their neighborhood, what are they using? Do they use the check cashing place more than they use the actual, commercial banks or the savings banks? And I think if you can find that out, you can help the community more how to better their money or how to use their money in a proper way. Because I always have questions about that, because I know it's always seems like there's always something new popping up in the neighborhood and you want to know how to use it properly. But then again, it's all about how much are you getting charged? How much do you have a savings account? Do you have a checking account? Is it do you have to have a certain balance to use this bank or that bank? Or does it just have to get to the point that, oh wow, I can't use that bank because I don't have enough money. So now I have to go to the check cashing place to, cash my check or do certain services there. Right. And I always have a question about that, because a lot of people don't know what's in the neighborhood that they can use cheaper than China. It's always I always know there's always a fee for something. It's always a fee to pay for a bill. I just think we need to have more conversation. If we're going to keep our money in our community, we need to know what's in the community that we can use to keep the money there.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. So, money is really personal for people, and some people don't really feel comfortable sharing where they're going and why they're going there. So that makes it a little bit difficult sometimes. But I also think that, like, when I was in Bloomberg's administration, I used to work with one of his commissioners in the Department of Consumer Affairs, and we would have an entire department dedicated to this exact thing, like helping unbanked people get banked in a responsible way, so they weren't getting taken advantage. These check cashing places, they can be quite fraudulent in a lot of ways. And so there's a lot of, I would look at like 311 resources. I would look at the Department of Consumer Affairs. I would, if this is something that's truly interesting for you to figure out as a service to your community, you could probably build a pretty nice business educating people about what's available in the neighborhood. And you could even, what you could do is, and not just for you, Kim, but like if anyone is interested in this, what I would do if I was interested in this is I would do my own homework. I would go to the 7 or 8 institutions that are in my neighborhood that are offering these services. I would figure out, like, I would really for real figure it all out, because like you said, and I think it's super true, there's so many fees and there's so many hidden fees too. So it's like, if you could figure out like which one of these 7 institutions you feel are really truly best for people of this socioeconomic status or this socioeconomic status, then I would go to them and I would say like, hey, I want to do some outreach for you. I want to build a product. I want to build a service. I want to go door to door. I want to teach people in my community about what you're doing. And I want you to sponsor me. I want you to give me, a couple $1,000s a month to do this outreach. And you'll be my sponsor. And I want to start a whole speaking thing around the neighborhood about your services, because I think that you're the best of the 7. That's a business model that could actually work. They give you $1,000, $2,000 a month. You do 2 or 3, big events a month, 2 events a month, and then all of a sudden, there it is. Now all of a sudden you have, a business. But if you don't want to do that, and maybe you don't, and that's fine, then I would just rely on. I would still do my own homework, because I actually don't like. I do a lot of my own homework before I trust anything that's told to me. But there are services that are available, I think, through like the New York City government website, or just different local services like that, and I would look into that. But that's what I would say about that. It's a good question. What do you think about, what are your feelings toward the 7.5 increase in inflation? I think inflation is something that comes and goes, and I think it's always going to come and go. And I don't know. I mean, it's a tough time to. It's just these are trends that have happened, and I don't really know much more than that, to be honest. Other questions? These are great questions. We have 15 minutes left. Anybody have thoughts, doubts, concerns? I guess the last piece of this workshop that I wanted to touch on, and let's do it now before we run out of time, is distractions. Brian and I were messaging about this, like what is distracting people? So I'd love to know from you all, like, what is distracting you from your goals? Honestly, what is it?
Social media.
Yeah, for sure. Social media. What else?
YouTube for me.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. It was the news. I think starting today, I won't be watching the news
No
anymore.
more news, Kim. I'm calling your cable company. You don't have any more news. That's it. News is over. Yeah, these are common. What else? Stress. Yep. Depression. Yep. All right. So let me just tell you something real quick. This has been really helpful for me. I actually think that, again, I am a bit of a contrarian thinker, and I think it's one of the things that I really like about myself. I'll hear something and then I'll think about, well, what does it have to be like this? Or I'll hear something that's told to me and I'll say, like, why do you think, why? I'm always questioning why people think what they think and why people hold to be true what they hold to be true. So for example, the 8-hour workday. Why do we have an 8-hour workday? This is what I think to myself. And why? Because I've worked in places where I can get 8 hours of work done in 2 hours, but that's not okay for people. They want me there for 6 more hours. I don't know why. And I don't, it's like, why? If these are the things I need to get done today in this 8 hours and I can do them in 2, why don't you just let me go? Right? So that I don't really connect with. And so what I have done a lot of thinking around, and I've experimented with a lot, is this concept of deep work. So let's just say what you have to find for yourself is 2, maybe 3. I think 3 is ambitious, and actually I would start with 1. So 1, 2, or 3 blocks of time where you feel you're most creative and where you feel you're most inspired. So for some people that's early in the morning, for some people that's late at night, for some people that's during the middle of the day, whatever. But what I've experimented with is this idea of 60 to 90 minute sessions of deep work. And I mean, there is no way around this. I am not looking at, my phone is not with me. My social media is not turned on. My home phone is off the hook. I have told kids and spouses and family and friends, like, you're not going to get in touch with, like, I not to be interrupted during these 60 to 90 minutes. I actually have found that if you can do that twice a day, you can actually get more work done in 3 hours than you can in 8 hours of kind of in and out work. So I would recommend to you to start to experiment with this. I would recommend that you spend 1 or 2 blocks a day of 60 to 90 minutes where you are only working on your dream. And whatever that dream is, whatever it is. So like 60, and by the way, like for Kim, that 60 to 90 minutes might be, I'm going to be sitting here with this senior citizen, and that's it. That's what I'm doing. And that's the 60 to 90, and that's deep work because she's fully listening. She's fully there. And then the second session for Kim might be her article or her podcast or what the video that she creates about what she learned that day. So the second 60 minutes is phones off, social media is off, internet is disabled. I'm going here right now to write the article about what I learned from this woman this morning, and no one's talking to me for 60 to 90 minutes. If you do those twice a day, and again, this is only 2 hours of work, but if you do the deep work, then you actually, I think, will be blown away at how much you're advancing your dreams in a very reasonable way. I'm not asking you to work 15 hours a day on this. I'm asking you to do 1, 2, and if you can build up to 3 blocks of creative time, then you will be blown away. Sabrina, my best working hours are between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Great. Whatever hours those are for you, do it in that time. Just try it. Start with 1. Start with 1 hour. Start with 60 minutes a day. Promise yourself, even if you just did it Monday through Friday, promise yourself 5 hours a week where you are absolutely all 100% in on this dream. You will get way more done than you think. All right, I'm going to close out. If anybody has questions, I'm happy to hang for a few more and answer questions. But that was what I have planned for you today. Any questions? Just go ahead and scream.
Will there be another session like this one?
Brian, I'm not sure. Brian's the man.
Yes, actually, we're going to have another one, additional one with Brian in the near future, but we're going to actually have another one with Sadiq Muhammad at the same time next Wednesday.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm gonna do I'm gonna put my, let's see, I'm gonna put my send chat to, oh, can you guys see this? Can you see my name there, Brian Rashid Global, in the chat? No, I think that's actually just to Ashanti for some reason. Okay, so Brian, can you just put my my Brian Rashid Global in the chat for me, please? And that's my Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Go ahead and follow along, hang out, send me questions, send me updates, send me good news. I always love getting emails saying like, hey, I did that thing and now I'm doing this thing. Or if you have any other questions or concerns, go ahead and hit me up on social media. And Yeah, I mean, I just really am so grateful for being here with you all. I really, really admire what you're all up to. Brian, thank you for reaching out to me, man. I appreciate you. Jason, thank you for also being so cool about having me come back always. And you guys are the best. And I'm here if you need me, and continued success and blessings, and stay brave. You know, everyone's like, stay safe, stay safe. I actually want you to stay brave and stay wild. Like, we need more wild. We need more people that are out there hugging and bringing back the humanity into the world, because that's what's going to get us back. You know, this fear is not going to get us back. We are strong beings. We have lived through a lot. Our ancestors have lived through a lot. We're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. But I have really, in the last year, committed to really getting back to my own humanity and treating the people around me not as disease-fearing threats, but as humans. And honestly, I think it's time for us all to try and make that commitment to ourselves and the people around us. So we need people, guys. We need hugs, and we need love, and we need community. We're not good alone. We're not good isolated. We're not good fearful. Be brave, be wild, be strong, and be blessed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for coming, man. Appreciate
Thank
you,
you,
man.
brother. Appreciate you facilitating and being such a great leader. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Brian. Really appreciate you. Enjoy Austin and keep us informed of what's going on with you. And again, Brian is a great resource. So connect with him all over the social media. Follow him. Keep track of him. He's like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, because he was in Hawaii.
Yeah, he's map hopping, and picking different cities to fall in love with, and then writing letters to them. So, follow him on social media. He's great, great resource. And thank you all for being here today, Brian. Great work, great session. Brian Carter, great session. Thank you, SGA, for sponsoring this, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.
Yeah, thanks to everybody. Thanks for bringing such great energy and openness too. You guys were awesome.
Thank you, man. Take care, man. Good to see you, man.
You too, brother. Peace and love, guys.
Bye, everybody.